How goes it, Commanders? My name is Foxphorus, and welcome to my guide on Girls Frontline 2, Exilium. Today, I will introduce Girls Frontline 2, as well as go over the basics of the game at an introductory level. I will be making further guides later on in the future, expanding on each of the topics for more advanced breakdowns. As the game finally got its release on Steam, I wanted to make a guide as easy and straightforward as possible so that anyone can understand, as well as go over some topics that people have asked me about in the past. I will have timestamps throughout the video for the main chapter, so feel free to jump around as needed. So, first and foremost, what is Girls Frontline 2? Girls Frontline 2, which will be shortened as GFL 2, is a gacha game that's in the turn-based strategy shooter genre, similar to the likes of XCOM. However, unlike XCOM, there isn't really much RNG mechanics in its gameplay. If you do have the ability to hit something, you will hit it. This does eliminate a lot of the, let's say, unfairness that you may experience within XCOM. However, what is RNG dependent is how much damage said hit will do, as well as if the attack will crit, which will be shown as a percentage before you confirm the attack. A common question that I get is, do you need to play Girls Frontline 1 in order to understand the second game? As somebody who has played GFL 1 from 2018 to 2023, I can confidently say that you do not need to play the first game in order to understand GFL 2's story. There are nods to the first game that are nice if you have played it, but beyond that, you're fine to just start with Girls Frontline 2. The lore of the GFL universe is extensive, to say the least, and if you are interested, there are plenty of fan-made lore summary videos and text documents of the first game as well as its characters. This game is available on a variety of different devices, making it easily accessible for most people. The game can be played on Windows through the official client on the GFL 2 website, or you can now get it through Steam as well, and it even works on the Steam Deck. For iOS phones and iPads, you can get it through the App Store, and for Android devices, you can get it through Google Play. Unfortunately, there is no official way to be able to play it on Linux or Mac computers, but there are workarounds for this, like for example, getting an emulator like LD Player. The game is very mobile friendly and has an incredibly light system requirement, letting it be able to be run on most devices. It has a total of 36 GB on the PC client and around 15 GB for the mobile client. As for which PC version to use, I personally would recommend the Steam version over the official client. This way it does not have its own launcher and the game runs smoother. If you already had an account and would like to transfer to the Steam version, it's as easy as just logging into your account. When you download the game will ask you to create a profile through multiple different avenues. You can just go with whatever option you're most comfortable with. However, keep in mind, for the global version of the game, there are two different servers based in your country. You either be in the Dark Winter server or the How Play server. There is no interaction between the two servers, meaning that you cannot add a friend or join platoons that are on a different server. I tried looking around for a reason for this, but I couldn't find anything. If I had to take a guess, it's probably because of population to try to lessen the overall server load. Once you log in, the game will start you off immediately within the story, and the first chapter is mostly just a tutorial teaching you the basics of the game and the general menus that you'll be navigating through, as well as introducing you to the world of GFL. The story of this game is presented in a very short and concise format, only really telling you what you need to know. This makes it very easy for people to be able to understand the world and the situation that you are currently in from the get-go, unlike most gachas would tend to have long info dumps and expositions and just a lot of jargon. For server reset time, daily and weekly reset is on Monday at 8 AM UTC, which is 5 PM Japanese, 9 AM Central European, 4 AM Eastern Standard Time, and 1 AM Pacific Standard Time. At the main menu screen, there are multiple different sections that you can get into and can be very confusing at first. An important thing to note is the energy system of the game, which is called Intelligence Pieces, shortened to IP. They are located here at the bottom left of the main menu. You can hold a maximum amount of 240 IP, and you recover 1 IP every 5 minutes, or all 240 in 20 hours. If you're at capacity, there is a backup storage for IP, which we will cover later. You can also replenish IP using access keys, which replenish 60 IP upon use, and you can get these from various different means. Each combat node you do will require a certain amount of IP, and IP is only used when you complete a stage, so if you withdraw before you complete a stage, no IP will be consumed. Located just above your IP, you'll see this robot dog thing called a diner gate. When you interact with it, you'll see a map of the base. From here, at the bottom of the screen, there are multiple tabs that you can choose from. The first one we'll look at is the Campaign tab. This is where the main story is located, divided into chapters. Each chapter has a normal mode and a hard mode. The normal mode maps are very easy and straightforward, so you can easily complete the story. In fact, with just the starter $4 of the game, you can beat every chapter of the story as of making this video. So, this game is incredibly free-to-play friendly in that regard. The other option is the hard tab, which these maps offer a bit more challenge and have some more puzzle mechanics to them. The next tab is Supply Missions. This is where most of the general farming areas of the game are located. From here, you can use your IP to get character level materials, weapon level materials, character expansion materials, weapon attachments, and the game's money, called Stardust Gold. Note, you can only do the gold node 4 times a day, so I recommend always doing the 4 runs if you can so you don't run out of money. The final tab is Combat Simulations, which is where the more challenging content as well as the PvP nodes of this game are located. First up in the Combat Simulations is the Neural Survey, which is where you get character skill tree materials. Each chapter within the Neural Survey has its own tier of the materials, so the first section gives you tier 1 skill tree materials, and section 2 gives you tier 2, etc, etc. The next tab is Boss Fight. Boss Fight is a weekly mission type where you have 3 attempts per week to reach the highest score possible, or even kill the boss. After you attempt the boss once, you can just sweep the boss to get the weekly done. A sweep is an auto completion. This means that even if you don't fully defeat the boss, you can still get the rewards based on your highest score gained. You do, however, have to kill the boss in order to advance to the next tier until tier 8. When you get to tier 6, you will need 2 teams, so please bear that in mind. You won't have access to the second type, Crossroad Challenge, until you reach level 50, so I will not be covering that in this video. Upon completing a boss fight, you will receive a certain amount of tickets based on your score. With these tickets, you can click on the Battle Log Trading to open a shop where you can eventually get a free 5-star Sabrina with Spaz 12. This shop refreshes on a weekly reset, where the Sabrina copies and the access tickets are on a monthly reset. The next section is Combat Exercise, which is the first PvP section. Don't worry, you do not have to fight other commanders. It is just against AI-controlled teams that are set up by other commanders. This is a daily where you have 3 attempts to try to beat AI-controlled teams. You do not get any rewards for successful defenses, except for a title when you win 100 defense. You will only get rewards based on successful attacks. Because of this, it is highly recommended for you to set up your team to have one of your lowest level dolls, or you could put in your waifu if you like to flex it, just so that you can help out other commanders. If you find a commander that has built their team, you can refresh the list 5 times to find someone who has only put 1 doll. After the 5th time, you can refresh the list every 2 hours, or use 50 collapse pieces, which are the game's premium currency, to refresh this, which I do not recommend. When you make a successful attack, you will gain an MR based on what point value of that battle was selected. You will get 30 collapse pieces each day as long as you make a successful attack. When you advance a tier, you will also get more collapse pieces rewards. The next section is Peak Value Assessment. These are a set of fairly challenging stages that will give you weekly rewards for their completion. Once you complete a stage, each week you will automatically receive the weekly rewards for completing that stage, so you do not need to do them more than once if you do not want to. After that are Expansion Drills. These are a set of challenging stages that will unlock based on your commander level. The main rewards here are some more pieces as well as precision boost chips. These are used to level up weapon attachments, which we'll cover up later in the video. These reset on a bi-weekly basis. Lastly is the Military Simulation. This is where the ranked PvP of the game is. This functions exactly like Combat Exercise, however, unlike Combat Exercise, you do get points for defending here. So if you want a competitive PvP environment, this is your go-to. You will also get 5 daily attempts instead of 3, and you can buy 10 more tickets each day at 50 collapse pieces each. Seasons last around 4 weeks. For those who do not want to do the PvP, the primary rewards, which are collapse pieces and skins, are all participation based. So, a common strategy is just to go into the battle and withdraw immediately. You will not receive any punishment for doing so. The competitive rewards are just player icons and title cards, which people will flex off. But if you do not wish to participate, you can just use the withdrawing strat. Looking back at the diner gate, you'll notice that there is a map of the layout of the base. The first room that we're going to be looking at is the storeroom. This is where your inventory is located and where you can see all the resources that you currently have, along with weapons, weapon attachments, universal keys, which we'll be covering later, as well as item boxes. The craft tab on the top right is where you can use low rarity items to craft higher rarity ones. The next room we'll look at is the Elmo server room. This basically holds extra information on your dolls, as well as to be able to reread the story should you wish. The next room is the public area. This is where you can interact with your dolls. The dormitory option allows you to go to any of your dolls' individual rooms where you can interact with them to see a variety of different animations. You can also give your dolls gifts that will allow you to raise the affection of your dolls and even be able to marry them. Dolls can receive buffs depending on their bond level, and bond can never decrease. GFL 1 vets rejoice. You can also see a doll's bond story, get more lore, and listen to their voice lines in the archive section. On the top right, you can click on the camera option to be able to orient the camera to different angles. And on this screen in the same spot, you can click on the infinity icon here to have this set as your main menu background if you'd like. On the top left next to the arrow, you can click on the recycle button to immediately go back to the main menu. On the main menu, if you want to change your background again, you can click on the infinity symbol on the bottom left to change it back to default, or even a doll special background. Your dormitory backgrounds are saved under the dormitory option, and you can pick whatever plan that you had the character under. Back in the public area, the next section is the dispatch room. Here, you can select 2 dolls to do an assignment to get a special type of currency called wishing coins that can be used in the mystery box menu under dispatch income. These will give you a chance to summon a free Peretia. In the dispatch menu, you can see where some of the overflow intelligent pieces you get stored along with their conversion rate, as well as a passive way to earn doll XP, weapon XP, or gold, along with a way to be able to convert these to wishing coins should you choose. In order to let a doll do an assignment, you first have to complete their dispatch assignment challenges, located under dispatch assessment. Every doll will have the same challenges, leveling them up to level 15, giving them a gift, and completing a stage using said character. After completion of these, you'll be able to set the dolls for deployment assignments. After you complete dispatches, you'll get various different items, as well as dispatch records, which can be used in the shop to buy level materials, gifts, as well as standard banner tickets. This shop refreshes weekly. You can also level up your dorm based on how much bond you have across all your dolls. And the dorm level lets you get various perks within the dorm, such as a better conversion rate for overflow intelligence pieces. The final room that we'll look at now is the refitting room. This is where you can level up your dolls as well as their equipment. You will see your doll list on the left side and choose between them, and whatever doll you have selected appears in the center with an overall view of their kit and the statistics on the right side. You can also interact with the dolls here by tapping them, as well as being able to change their outfit on the bottom right, as well as a quick tab to their dorm. On the stat sheet, on the top left of it, you can see what class a particular doll is. The classes are Bulwark, Vanguard, Support, and Sentinel. These classes fundamentally are Tank, Flanker, Healer, and DPS respectively. On the top right of the stat sheet, you can click on the plus symbol to get a full overview of your doll's attributes. Under that, you can see what V copy you have of a doll, V being how many fortification copies of a unit you have, with 1 copy being V0 and V6 being a max copy of 7 total dolls. You can also see what each fortification level does to a particular doll in the fortification menu on the top right of the screen. The next area shows how much attack, HP, defense, crit, and how much stability a doll has. We'll be covering stability in the battle mechanics section of the video. Beneath those is a description of the abilities that each doll has. For each of the abilities, you can go and click on them to see what each one of them does. Under those are the fixed keys menus. These are equipables that you can strengthen your doll with, and you can get these from a variety of different ways. One of them is through event shops, which are the universal keys, and typically have purple and blue rarities to them. Another way to get them is through the Neural Helix menu in the refitting room. These give a doll's exclusive keys that only they can equip. This is essentially a skill tree for the doll, and you can use the conductors that you get from neural surveys to progress through the tree. Under the fixed keys menu is the doll's weapon slot. But before we talk about weapons, let's first get your doll leveled up. At the bottom right, there is the level up option. This is where you use your combat reports, which you get by farming the in-depth search nodes, or through other various means. When leveling them, you can also see a neat animation for the doll, and these play once per day per doll by default, and you'll be able to change this in the settings should you wish. At levels 20, 30, 40, and 50, you'll have to expand your dolls by giving them stock boost bars, which you can farm at the kind of configuration nodes. Keep in mind that you can only level up dolls to your current commander level, and this is the same for leveling up weapons as well. Now that you have your doll leveled, let's talk about weapons. Back on the doll's main page, click on the weapon slot on the bottom of the stats page. This will bring up the weapon menu. From here, you can see what weapon the doll currently has equipped along with its attachments. You can also inspect the weapon by interacting with it. First and foremost, to change the weapon, you can click the change option on the bottom left. Each doll has a preferred weapon shown as a thumbs up symbol if you have that doll's preferred weapon. If you give a doll their preferred weapon, they'll get a special buff that you can see in the trait menu. After giving a doll a weapon you'd like them to have, click on the Enhance option to level up that weapon. You can also calibrate a weapon in the Calibration menu. This acts the same as doll fortification, and it increases the effect of the weapon up into Calibration 6. Copy 1 of the weapon is C1. Next, on the top right, you'll get the Attachments menu. This is where you can equip attachments onto a weapon. Attachments are essentially like the artifacts from Genshin or echoes from Withering Waves, where you can increase various stats of your doll, such as attack, health, defense, and crit. You can also see which attribute is connected to an attachment. You want to have all 3 attachments have the same attribute to get the effect of it. Note that the muzzle attachments are universal, meaning they will never have any attributes tied to them. You can also see exactly which stats are being increased across all your attachments, and what those values are on the left-hand side of the screen. If you want attachments with specific substats, click on the diamond on the bottom left and select your desired substats. To level up these attachments, click on Calibrate. From here, you feed low-level attachments as well as gold into the attachments to try to increase the stats as much as possible. The higher your commander level, the higher these substats will be, meaning that at a lower level, calibration does not give that much of a boost. Meanwhile, at level 60, you can actually max out every value on an attachment. So, I do not really recommend trying to get a perfect attachment until you hit about level 55. You can also use a precision boost chip that you receive from the expansion drills that will guarantee at least 1 stat will be increased. You can use as many chips as there are stats in the weapon, meaning that if you use 3 chips on an attachment with 3 stats, you're guaranteed to have all 3 stats increased. Once all that is done, your gun may look incredibly ugly, but don't worry, we can fix that on the weapon's main screen by clicking the paint can on the bottom left. Here, you can customize the look of a weapon and any of its attachments to any of that class's guns and attachments that you currently have unlocked. So, you can make your sniper rifle look like any of the game's sniper rifles, along with any of the attachments that you may have unlocked, including higher and even lower rarities for that weapon for some reason. I'm not judging. Also, when leveling up your weapon, if you use a leveled and or calibrated weapon in calibration, you'll get your XP as well as any calibrations that you used back. You can also quickly access any of the rooms that we described along with time limited events on the main menu screen on the right hand side. Now that the tour of the Elmo is done, let's talk about gameplay mechanics. There is some depth to the game's mechanics, but luckily it's pretty easy to learn the basics. I'll make more in-depth videos about specific aspects of the gameplay in the future. When you go into a battle node, the first phase you'll see is the preparation phase. From here, you can see the battlefield, mission objectives, all the enemies and emplacements, as well as where to place your dolls on the bright blue tiles. You can see every doll at your disposal and even devise an overall strategy to complete the stage. When you decide what dolls to use, you can click and drag the dolls from your roster onto any of the bright blue spots. Note that each stage has its own deployment limit, which is shown at the very top of the screen, along with your current team's combat power. Once on the field, you can drag dolls to either move them to a new spot, swap them between other dolls, or drag them back into the roster to deselect them or even trade them out with another doll. You can also choose a friend to help you out by clicking support on the top right. Once your preparations are complete, you're ready to start the battle by pressing combat start. Now, we're on to the battle phase. Select one of your dolls. When you select them, you'll see a white outline on the tiles around your doll. This is the limit where that doll can move on this turn. To move them to a location, just tap any tile within that white outline. When moving your doll, ideally you would like to put them in a position where they have the highest advantage and the enemies have the greatest disadvantage. Typically, you would like for your doll to be behind cover and to be able to attack an enemy that is exposed from cover. You can also have a doll be at a higher elevation to negate the defensive effect of cover. On both of your dolls, as well as enemy units, above their health bar on the right hand side, you will see a shield icon with a number attached to it. This is a unit's current stability. This can be raised through skills and lowered when taking damage. When the number reaches 0, they will be stability broken, making them be able to take more damage as well as receiving no benefits from being behind cover. So this can be an excellent way to expose an enemy if you're unable to flank them. The blue trail that appears behind a doll shows their pathing. If a doll can hit an enemy with any of their abilities, there's a solid yellow line connecting the two. If the enemy has the possibility of hitting a doll during their attacking phase, it will show as a red blinking line. Once you move, you can then select a number of 4 abilities that a doll has, shown in the bottom right. Essentially, each doll has a basic attack, 2 skills, and an ult. You can select these skills by either tapping them or pressing 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the keyboard if you're on PC. Certain skills and ults may cost Confetics Index, which you can gain through various means, such as attacking enemies or being given through other doll skills. You'll be able to see how much Confetics Index a skill or alt takes by the gray little bars that are shown underneath a skill or alt. Certain skills and alts may have an element attached to them. Each doll has a specific element, and when used, they will deal the corresponding element's damage. You can see what element as well as what weapon an enemy is weak to above their health bar. Depending on the ability, it is either immediately used, like if it's a buff, or you'll have to select a teammate, like if it's supportive, or an enemy if it's offensive. You can also see how much damage a hit will do without criticals, how much healing will be received, as well as effects on stability on each unit prior to confirmation, so you can make your best judgment on which action you'd like to take. Once a doll's actions are completed, that doll's turn is over and it's time to select another doll. If you make a mistake, you can click this rewind symbol at any point to be able to redo any part of the fight up until then. Once all doll's actions are completed, the enemy will have their turn. This is also when enemy units will spawn at the end of their turn. That is the basics on how the combat mechanics of this game work. It's essentially just XCOM with cute anime girls. Once you've beaten a node and completed the challenges within them, which is usually just beat it within a certain number of turns and not have any of your dolls die, you'd then be able to sweep those stages forever. Now that we're done with the basics of the combat, you may be wondering why I actually missed 2 sections of the Elmo, the visitor room as well as the trading post. Don't worry, I didn't forget. The main reason why I left them out is because this is where the gacha system of the game is, the big money part. First, let's talk about the trading post. This is where the game's shop is located. This is where you will be able to buy various items using real money. The first tab we'll look at is actually the last one on the list, redemption. This is where you can directly buy the paid currency, called credit tokens, with real money. The first time purchase of each pack will give a bonus of 2 times, and this resets on every anniversary. The conversion of credit tokens is 1-to-1 to collapse pieces. There is also a monthly subscription for $5 that gives you 300 credit tokens immediately, as well as 80 collapse pieces per day on daily login for 30 days, and you'll be able to buy 2 at a time. Time is only added to the second purchase, so it will increase the total time from 30 days to 60 days. You can also buy the monthly incremental contract for $2 that gives you 90 tokens immediately, and then each day you'll get 2 more runs at the gold node, and you'll be able to have 9 rewinds per stage instead of the 3. Another way to get tokens is through quality selection. Here, there are various packages that you can buy that have a variety of different items in them, including level materials, gifts, wedding rings, and of course, tokens and pieces. I'll break each of these down in a later video, but for now, the best value for money to credit tokens goes beginner package, time limited package, redemption if you have the double bonus, stage package, standard package, and then redemption if you do not have the double bonus. There is also a free daily box in the standard package page, which does have the chance to give pieces, so make sure to always grab it. The next tab is new arrivals. This is where you can buy any new doll skins as well as skins on a discount. You can buy skins either directly with real money or with tokens. Following that is the outfit bouquet. This is where all the available skins are that you can buy for your dolls, with custom skins being the weapon skins. In the trading post, you can exchange your pieces for polling tickets, Targeted access is the limited banner ticket, and access is the standard banner ticket, both costing 150 pieces each. In Growth Stack, you can exchange withdrawal receipts you get from the gacha to buy various equipment or more tickets on a monthly reset. Unless you're a whale, I'd recommend only buying the gacha tickets each month. I never recommend buying attachment boxes from anywhere except if you have extra event currency, as it's just not worth it. Lastly, in Neural Integration, you can exchange redundant pieces, which you also get from the gacha, to buy 5-star weapons. Currently, you can only buy standard 5-star weapons, but in the future, we'll be able to buy pulls from the shop as well. Each weapon is worth the same as 3 multis in the gacha for the same price. Weapons are actually quite powerful in this game, unlike for example in ZZZ or Star Rail, so do whatever you wish. In the main menu, there is also a battle pass of this game under the Voyage icon. You can complete the pass by selecting actions en route and seeing the daily and weekly missions. There is no weekly cap to XP, so you can do every single mission and always get the XP. If you complete every mission, the pass will be completed in about 2 weeks. There are 2 versions of the paid battle pass, one being the $10 version that gives you everything in the paid tier, and a $20 version that advances 10 tiers, gives a unique icon per pass, 600 pieces, 100k gold, and 5 access keys. The value for both of the passes is definitely worth it if you'd like to be a light spender. The game is incredibly free-to-play friendly because they hand out so much free summoning currency. They typically do around 70 to 80 pulls per month if you do everything. So you only really have to spend if you'd like to either support the devs or you're trying to max out a waifu, like I am. The best things to buy as a light spender are the daily login piece subscriptions as well as the battle pass each month. Once you complete a battle pass, for every 100 activity points that you gain, you'll be able to open a box that has a variety of different leveling materials, as well as a 4% chance to be able to receive 50 collapse pieces. So, it is still worth doing the missions even if you already have completed the pass. And now, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for, the gacha. To get to the gacha page, you can either select recruitment from the main menu or the visitor room from the map. From here, you will see the banner list. This structure of banners typically goes the new limited doll, the doll's weapon, a rerun banner or standard doll rate-up, and then their weapon, and then finally the standard banner. The gacha system in this game is almost identical to the Hoyo system. Each ticket has about a 0.6% chance of being a 5-star doll, with a 6% chance of a 4-star. This chance is split evenly with 4-star characters and weapons, making it so that it's a 3% chance for either. Every 10 summons has at least a 4-star guaranteed within it. After 58 pulls, if no 5-star is gained, the chance of a ticket being a 5-star will increase until it hits the 80th pull, which will then be a guaranteed 5-star. The first 5-star doll will be a 50-50 chance of either being a banner 5-star or one of the standard 5-star dolls. Also, just because you get a standard 5-star does not mean it's bad. For example, Cheongju is still the best single target DPS on CN, and Tololo is still incredibly good, with Peredia also becoming very good once Clusan comes out. If you lose the 50-50 and get one of the standard 5-stars, then the pity resets. However, the next 5-star that you receive will be the banner character. Pity also tracks between banner types. This means that if, for example, you're pulling on a limited doll banner, and then lost the 50-50, and then the banner changes to a different limited doll, and then you pull on that one, the first 5-star that you get, you are guaranteed to be the rate-up doll, because you had already lost the 50-50 on a previous banner without getting the rate-up character. Limited dolls, limited weapons, and standard banners all have their own pity counter. Weapon banners follow almost the same rules, with the differences being that the base rate is 0.7% for a 5-star weapon, 7% for a 4-star weapon, and the chance increase begins on the 51st pull, and then 70 pulls is the guarantee. And the chance for the banner weapon is 75% instead of the 50% like a doll is. For the standard banner, it follows the same exact rules as a limited doll banner, except for this time, you can choose which standard doll or weapon that you would like to have on rate-up. You can change what will be the rate-up at any time as you wish, and this stays permanently even if you get the rate-up character or weapon. For beginners, once you do a total of 260 pulls on the standard banner, you can select any standard 5-star doll of your choosing. This only happens a singular time. When pulling, if you get duplicates, you will receive 30 neural archives, which equates to 1 fortification level for a doll. along with varying amounts of redundant pieces depending on the rarity and if you already have a V6 copy of a doll. For weapons, you will just get a second copy of the weapon, which you can equip onto a different doll, or calibrate the original copy of a weapon. You will also receive 2 withdrawal receipts for every 3-star weapon that you acquire. These rules apply for every single banner. So, with that out of the way, who should you pull for? Well, with how this game is structured and built, it is very free to play friendly, where you can beat most of the general content with even just a starting 4-star team. The only time the meta truly matters is only if you care about the PvP, and this only really is in the top 10%. Even some of the more challenging content, if you understand the mechanics of the game, the dolls you employ, and the enemies you are facing against, you'll be just fine. So, that means there isn't exactly any must-have units, although there are some units that are meta and will definitely be helpful to have, such as Clusan, Suomi, and Springfield. However, ultimately the deciding factor should always be, do you like this character? Pull for whoever you want, meta be damned. Finishing up, there are a few other things to talk about that revolve around the community of the game. First, if you go to the map, on the top right side of the screen you'll see this symbol of 3 people. This is the Friends menu. This is where you can add friends within the game. You can also message the friends you have added and send them little funny stickers if you would like. To set your own supports, on the map, click on your icon on the top left of the screen. This is your profile ID card. For the supports, you can choose them at the very bottom. Every time somebody uses your support, you'll get 1k gold. You can also change your name here, with the first time being free and any subsequent changes you'll have to pay money for. You can set your birthday to get a gift on your birthday, and you can only change this once a year, and you cannot get the birthday rewards for more than once a year, so no cheesing the birthday, sorry. You can also see your UID and change your player icon, edit your bio, and display, flex, some of your dolls and badges that you have. There is also a redeem codes option to redeem any codes that GFL hands out to receive various rewards. Codes are different between Howplay and Darkwinter servers, so be mindful of this. I will have codes posted in my Discord, link below to check out. You can also change your game settings from here too, in the top right. The next thing to talk about are platoons. These are the clans or guilds of this game where you can represent a certain guild and get rewards for doing guild activity. You're going to be able to join a guild once you reach level 20. If you only have limited time, I highly recommend doing these first, as the rewards that you gain from these are guild-wide, meaning you aren't just helping yourself, but others in your guild as well. For the most part, guild activities are split up into 2 things. Essential tasks, which is a standard battle that will always be active, that you can do once a day, and the Gunsmoke Frontline. The Gunsmoke Frontline is a major PvP of the game where you have 2 attempts to either fight a standard battle, called the Outpost Battle, or to be able to fight a boss if you're level 60, and you get platoon points for doing them. You can also buy 1 more attempt per day for 50 collapse pieces each. Gunsmoke usually is on for a week, and then off for 2 weeks. This is where having highly invested dolls truly matters if you're trying to be a top 5% or better guild. But if you're just a casual guild, like mine is, you don't have to worry about being meta. But make sure to always do these as they do not just affect you, but your other guild members as well, as you can both get summoning currency as well as free 5-star Papasha and her weapon through the guild shop. The last thing for today is back on the map. Next to the platoon icons, you have the basic guide, your login calendar, an email that you receive, and a message board detailing anything new that has come out and any other information. And with that, that is a basic guide of Girls Frontline 2. I hope that you have enjoyed and perhaps have learned something new, or that I helped explain something you may have been confused about. As I've stated, I will be making further videos expanding upon certain topics in the future and explaining them on a deeper level. So, if there is a certain aspect that you would like me to cover, along with if you have any more questions, please let me know down in the comments below. Or, if you would like, please join the Discord. There, you can ask any questions that you may have, and anyone there will be willing to help you. Link down below. Good luck, and I hope to see you on the front line, Commander. Thank you all so much for watching. This was my first ever video on YouTube, and I hope it was informative. I've never really done anything like this before, so I'm sorry if it seems a bit amateurish. I'll be taking feedback on how to improve to make better guides in the future, and I may even redo this video at some point down the line. I wanted to start making guide videos about GFL as I am very passionate about this game, and I really want to be able to help others. I will also try to make story and event summaries as well as doll lore, videos in the future, because I do really love the lore of the GFL universe. It's really, really good. There's just a lot to it. I do also stream on Twitch as well, where I play a variety of different gachas and other games like Fate Grand Order, Withering Waves, and of course GFL too. And I do a sprinkle of some other silly things like Helldivers, and then very soon I'm going to be doing my very first playthrough of Elden Ring, which, oh boy. Well, but in any case, thank you all again so much for watching, and take care.